Hi there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan. We're looking here at a 1993 Toyota Light Ace turbo diesel 2.2 four-wheel drive. And this thing's amazing. It comes from 1993. It's fairly old now, 29 years old, but only 42,000 original kilometers. Never odometer swapped, original condition. And one of the best condition ones of these that I've seen in probably the last 8 years or so. So we'll take a look at the condition and compare it to the auction sheet. This was bought from auction here in Japan. We're going to be exporting it over to the USA. Here you can see 42,720 kilometers. I left the lights on because this car has some really unique original fog lights that are integrated right into the lens. You can see the yellow fog lights. Now I think in North America you're not allowed to have fog lights in the same lens with the headlights, as like some sort of a rule. So you'll find a lot of Japanese cars have the fog lights integrated into the headlights, whereas the North American version, they're separate. Switch this off for now. Switch the engine off. Let's just give it a little rev so you can hear it. And it is a little bit noisier when you got the door open. It is a cab over design. These vans are awesome. I think they were called the Toyota van in North America, but you didn't get them with a diesel engine. I think you could get them with four-wheel drive. I know you could get them with four-wheel drive, but they are an old school style four-wheel drive, so you get the high gear range and the low gear range. This allows you to climb up things more easily if that's what you want to do. It also has the manual locking hubs, which is something you really don't see anymore in most cars, and it is a nice little touch. You get out of the car, you twist to this thing, and it gives you a full lock on your front axle so that you're not going to get any slip. Most new vehicles like the Delica there, the Hi-Ace there, the other Hi-Ace there, and even the Prado, actually that's not quite the case. Those three, you have something that is automatic hub, and so it'll, when it slips, it'll catch like a LSD. The Prado actually has the same thing as this, but it's done with a power switch instead of coming out and pressing the button or flipping the switch yourself. Got a cube coming. Okay, quick look at the vehicle. This is a dual sunroof. I think it's a 7-seater. We'll take a look at the interior in a sec. Has the original seat covers on it from factory or dealer option seat covers. And so seats are going to be in paramount condition. Let's go over this. And this is a weird auction. It's one that the formatting is quite a bit different. So I might struggle with this a little bit, but let's translate. 1993 TownAce Wagon, auction grade 3.5 with interior C, exterior C. They were really hard on this. I would definitely give this a B and a B. A is kind of impossible to get on a vehicle that's this old. It's basically, if it's more than 5 years old, you almost have no chance of getting an A grade interior. If you're interested in a model like this is the CR31 generation, 2.2 liter engine. These did come in a 2-liter diesel engine as well. The later models came with the 2.2. I don't have a lot of experience with this engine recently. I would be careful of it because some Toyota diesel engines of this era, if they overheated, they would warp the head. If you are going to be driving a van like this uphill, I recommend you either take it easy or you get an aftermarket oil cooler for both the transmission and for the engine. It might already have an oil cooler. I don't know the answer to that, but it is a turbo engine. If you run the turbo uphill with your foot to the floor the whole time, that's creating a lot of heat. So an extra oil cooler can definitely help. I feel like much of what the internet says is a problem with the heads on Toyota diesels is a lot overblown, but it's always good to be cautious and do keep that in mind. Okay, so it's original gray two-tone. I love the color on this. The gray and silver is lovely. And it is a very of the era color combination. You don't see two-tone so much anymore. You can see it on the Alta Works, and sometimes you see it on some cars up until about 2005, but since then two-tones, I guess they're too expensive to make. I love a good two-tone though. Okay, it comes with AC, it works. Power steering, it works perfectly. Power steering and shifting both feel really, really incredibly smooth compared to most vehicles I check, including TownAces. I think it comes down to the low mileage, and you really can't get that back. As much as you try to throw money at a car, you can't get the low mileage feel back in a vehicle. And then dual sunroof. You can get a version of this with sunroofs that are like on the roof, like a crystal light roof style. This one's just a dual one, but they are big sunroofs. I'll give you a quick look at what that looks like right now. Big one there, and a small one there. Get back to translating this. So no sales points, no notes for the vehicle, and then the report here says interior dirty and wear. It's very slight. Seat and headliner dirty, again very slight. Interior liner is scratched. I didn't really notice anything. Door mirrors left and right are scratched. That's looking fine. The one over here has more of a scratch. Maybe? I don't know if you would call it too much of a scratch. They're just naked plastic. Okay, wheels scratched. Oh, and I gotta mention the wheels. I think these were a dealer optional upgraded wheel of the era. I haven't seen wheels that look like this before, but they have a dealer look. They're only 14 inch. And I think they look really nice with kind of that very slightly, 90s dish on it. And they look like a lightweight alloy wheel. I like those a lot. Okay, and you can see the close up, the manual locking hub. It's Aijin. I don't know how to pronounce it. A-I-S-I-N. In Japanese, that would be Aishin. Okay, an end panel dented. That's underneath the rear bumper, has a dent. Now, looking at the body here, U1 is a small dent, A1 is a small scratch. I looked around the car and I couldn't really find any of the damage, really. A2 and A2, maybe we can find that. But this U1, 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 this is one of the only areas in the body that I would personally be concerned about. There are 2 dents right here. Both of them are minor, but they're on the front face. There are 2 of them right next to each other. They're somewhat noticeable. I'll show you from a couple of angles here so that you can possibly see. Okay, and it kind of looks like a single light bar, but it's not. It's, headlight. This doesn't light up, and then headlight. There is a car in the States that it completely lights up. I think it's like the Lumina from the early 90s or something. I don't know. I always thought that was cool. Okay, so we'll go once around here. The Toyota van turned into the Previa afterward. Here in Japan, they're not really, I guess in North America, they're not really related either. They're just kind of styled similarly. This is a super extra 4-wheel drive trim. But the Toyota vans, everyone knows these as super duper reliable. These compared to the Previa are even older school looking. If you're lucky, you can find one of the ones with the sealed beam headlights that are even cooler in my opinion. But there's no denying something like this is going to have a lot of appeal, especially in this condition. It's like a time machine going back to the bubble era of Japan. This one here in 1993 would be post-bubble burst, but the bubble era, especially in terms of cars, really extends until about the late 90s, because all the engineering that went to the cars before the bubble burst is still there in those cars several years later. Okay, so front bumper barely has any scratches on it. Looks good. Going down this side, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. This side is really good with some scratches near the door handles. Let me show you those now. Fingernail scratches in here, a couple of scratches here, and a few scratches here and up here. Okay, that's about as bad as the scratches get on the car. Okay. Back section here has, now they called this I think an A2. If you look in this section here and right here, you'll see what looks like a whole bunch of scratches. This is actually a style of paint fade that you'll find on silver paints in the mid 80s to mid 90s on Toyotas and Mercedes-Benz. I haven't seen it on any other manufacturer. And it looks like scratches, but they're actual underneath the clear coat, micro cracks in the paint. And it's only on their metallic paints of that era that do that, like silvers or like a gloss or a metallic beige. They also have issues. They're on high aces, TownAces, all the silver in the E class in the 90s, and the C class. I guess all the Mercedes-Benz. You don't see it as often on Mercedes-Benz as you do on Toyotas, so do watch out for that. I'm sure there are other cars I'm forgetting about that I've seen it on, but I believe it's Toyota and Mercedes mostly. So the side panel looks good. This is a high roof model. I don't know if this, generation came in a low roof too. I kind of feel like it didn't. There are low roof versions of the TownAce. And by the way, the TownAce, Light Ace, and the Master Ace are all technically the same car, just different trim levels of it. They get the different names that were sold in different franchisees of Toyota's dealer network. Okay, so this fabric here is a bit dirty right there, and also it's a bit loose. See how it moves like that? That's the case on both sides, but the fabric's very nice feeling, has a new feel to it, not like a worn out fabric. It's soft, has a kind of a soft polyester feel to it. Okay. Original Toyota seat covers, full white and yet still very clean. I'm impressed. You don't get a ton of room in these. If you are over 6 feet, you're going to be pretty tight in it. Okay, there's a little flap here for the VIN number. It's kind of fun. And then you can tuck it in. If you have 2 hands, it is easier as well. There we go. And then the seat underneath is going to be in great condition because these people barely drove their vehicle and had seat covers on the whole time. I'm not a huge fan of how these seat covers fit on the seats because they don't really look that good. If it were my car, I'd probably ditch them and just have the excellent condition seats without the bunchy fabric. But, of course, to each their own. It's really not that bad, and it'll keep your seats in better condition if that's what you want to continue to do. Has a steering wheel cover. I'm not a fan of that. This is an aftermarket thing. I don't like the way that it feels. I say ditch it. Okay, 42,000 kilometers. Amazing. Has a Navi, what do you call that? A Navi foot? Plant? Stay? I don't know. The Navi thing. You put the Navi on with a suction cup. Tape deck and radio. AC works, never been smoked in. Has extra carpet that has been cut into shape. It's bunchy and it's gross. Get rid of it. Carpet underneath is good, but dirty, so I need to have that cleaned. It has power curtains, but before you try using these, I recommend getting some spray silicone and putting them in the railings. They collect dust and they are prone to failure once they get contaminated with too much dust. This feels a bit flimsy, always does on these. Okay, and that one there we can also close if we want, but you can see how big that sunroof is. It's really nice. Okay, over to the back, or the mid section, I guess you can call it. I believe these seats can rotate. Let's have a quick look. No. Yes, they are rotating seats, so you can face these forward or backward. In most minivans of this era and in Japan, you can recline these to make a sleeping platform, move these seats forward, push the backs back, and they'll reach the bottom of the cushions for the seat of the rear ones. Plenty of leg room, and I like how the transmission tunnel acts as a footrest here. And so you can sit in these seats, and I'll just take my shoes off. You can rest your feet up here if you want to, but really nicely. Okay, have a garbage can. This is a fun garbage can. Japanese ingenuity. Take a look. When your garbage can gets too full, you can break it. Lift that up. And you can have a bigger garbage can or a smaller garbage can. Controls for the AC and the heater back here, as well as a cigarette lighter adapter. Has a old school style like Land Cruiser AC where you can turn up the power of the AC there. Kind of fun. Controls here, moon roof open and close. Kind of weird that in Japanese cars everything's in English. They experimented with some Japanese buttons in the 2000s, but like basically every car from Japan has English on every button for the most part, until they got like Navi screens and stuff like that, because then it got too confusing, I think, for the Japanese people. Or for anybody, for that matter. Going into the back, pull it forward. Easy to get into. Again, we've got these and really, really nice carpets. Really good condition, really clean. Lovely. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an 8-seater. Wow. Excellent. And a bit of a pain in the butt that the seat doesn't move itself back into position. You gotta yoink this over here. Or, there we go. And really nice headliner. Lots of headroom. Do be careful getting in and out of the vehicle. You can knock your head on the sill there if you're not careful. I've done that plenty of times looking at these. Okay, open up the trunk, and seats are in a fixed location. These ones don't go forward and back, but you can flip them to the side. This one can be. Let's see, how do we do it? I don't think that you can do it from here. Oh yeah, you can. So see, the seat can go into a full flat position like that, or you can have it at different increments up, but then the whole seat can flip up and hold on to the side of the vehicle to give yourself more cargo room if that's what you want. Or if you move this into a sleeping platform, you can have this tilted up a little bit as a kind of a reclining bed type thing. Pretty cool. And of course, very clean. Nobody ever sat in the seats. The vehicle was owned by Grandma and Grandpa, who wanted the grandchildren to come visit, but they never did. Their loss is your win with this van, because grandchildren will destroy your van. Children will destroy any van. I personally want to get a new vehicle, but I love the fact that we don't have to care too much about our current one until our kids grow up a bit. Okay, that's that. Toyota Light Ace, this one here, turbo diesel 4-wheel drive in excellent condition. Hope you enjoyed the review. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.